I have to apologize. I haven't recorded a video in a little while, but today I thought of taking on a topic that I've discussed a little bit in my comments. First, I always respect and love to see people are commenting. It really shows people are paying attention. Even if they disagree with me, I always love to see that. But this time I'm going to be talking about what is God's will, what is God's plan, and what the difference is. We hear a lot about both these, especially in church, and especially from apologetics, about God's will and His plan. And a lot of people don't really think too much of what they are or the difference. God's will is how the world and everything will look if everything happened to how He would want it to be. If everything was perfectly aligned to God and His nature. This means morally perfect, without sin, 100% godliness, no sin whatsoever. That would mean peace, love, life, everything good that comes from Him. What that looks like would be heaven. Everyone living together in peace and harmony and love under God and with God. That is what God's will is. It is His vision for what everything should be, how it all aligns with Him. Now, wait a minute. This kind of sounds a little selfish when you put it that way. God's will is everything going into Him, everything going underneath Him, everything to Him. It's not just about ownership or domination or control, but it's about aligning with His nature, which is morally perfect. And that's a good thing. That is the best thing we can imagine. We want everything to align with His will. If it wasn't His will, it'd be full of sin. We see all these horrible parts in the world that we see today. Death, pain, illness. If we all lived according to God's will, we would have to worry about none of that. Yeah, we also would have had God's will, well, living up to God's will in the Garden of Eden, but we kind of screwed that up. Because of our use of free will in the Garden of Eden, sin has entered the world. Because of that, we're not living up to God's will anymore. Life is not following it. So God had to make a plan of how does He save humanity from sin and bring Him back. God's plan is shown all throughout the Bible. But the most important part is Jesus' sacrifice. Because of sin, there is debt that people owe. Because God is all just, people must pay off their debts. No one can be left unvalued or devalued. So there must be a punishment for sin, that is hell. But hell, in order to be perfectly just and leave no one with not enough, has to be eternal. God knows this, but He also wants us to be with Him forever. So instead of letting everyone take hell, He decided to become man Himself, live without any sin, and then take on our sin in the punishment of death. Through that, He can now use the sacrifice of Jesus Christ and apply our sins to that and forgive us, so we can return to Him and be with Him forever in heaven. That is the most important part of God's plan. The final solution to sin is His sacrifice. But we also see many other parts of His plan all throughout the Bible, in our lives as well. We're all living up to God's plan. Every time we spread Christianity and bring another soul to Christ, we are bringing God's plan into fruition, whatever you want to pronounce it. I'm not good with words. Every single time we read our Bible, we get closer. We are enacting God's plan. We are making sure that it happens. God's plan did not end at the cross. No, that's just when it peaked. And it's still going higher. His plan keeps going and will go until the end of time, until either everyone is punished or everyone gets to live with Him forever. Hopefully all of us can live forever with Him. That depends on how well in tune we are to God's plan. Then hopefully we can live in His will. I hope you guys better understand the difference now. God's will is how He'd will everything in life to be. Unfortunately, but also fortunately, He's given us free will in order to love Him, but with that free will, we went against Him. Because that brought sin, and because of sin brought hell. God's plan, because of God's will, is not here anymore. It's been betrayed, it's been changed. How the world goes from. God's plan is here now to save us. Thank you all for watching. I hope you learned something, at least with this topic. God bless.